Third event was the Frank McGrath handicap over 2,400 metres, and Braille, staying close to the inside in the green colours, gets through there and defeats Entre Nous by next. Saloon Passage, the favourite, I thought had his chance in the straight.
Saloon Passage is going to the outside, but in the meantime, it's Trick Gold and Field King going to the lead. On the outside, Saloon Passage is warming up, and then Braille on the inner. It's Trick Gold just in front from Braille on the inner, followed by Saloon Passage and Field King. Now the favourites come away. On the inside, Braille and Saloon Passage. Entre Nous flying home, but Braille is going to score. It's Braille winning it narrowly from Entre Nous on the outside. Third was Saloon Passage.
Fourth event was the Peter Pan Stakes for the 3-year-olds, and a triumph here for top trainer Tommy Smith, who provided the Quinella result. The winner, Black Ivory, owned by Robert Holmes, the court, defeated Lancelotto, who's actually the outside runner at this stage, and I thought his effort to finish second was very good. He's only lightly raced, and he'll continue to improve, but it's Black Ivory getting to the lead at this stage, and he scores decisively.
Likewise, Street Cafe getting a sandwich, then Futuristic, Lancelotto and Clavelli Bay storming down the outer. Black Ivory is the leader with 100 to go from Futuristic, and then Lancelotto and Clavelli Bay. Black Ivory still in front, and Black Ivory's going to hold them all at bay. And Black Ivory to the line, a convincing winner from Lancelotto and Clavelli Bay.
Clavelli Bay's effort good to finish third. He looks on the improve. Fifth event was the Pantheon Handicap and Walking Home. He looked in trouble halfway down the straight. He was inclined to shift away from the inside rail, and Rose Diamond, neck in at the finish, protested against Walking Home, but stewards quickly dismissed the objection.
Vite in reverse at the 300 metres. Walking Home grabbed by Rose Diamond. High above, can't go on with it. It's Rose Diamond on the outside leading ahead. Walking Home refusing to give in. Rose Diamond and Walking Home stride for stride. Walking Home kicking back. Rose Diamond on the outside, but Walking Home's too good. Walking Home from Rose Diamond, Dead Heat, Luskin's Touch and Bountiful Me third.
Stout effort that from Walking Home, after looking in grave danger of defeat halfway down the straight, showed great courage to fight back on the inside and score. Sixth event, the Shadow King Handicap. It looked like Anything Tudor when they turned for home. That's her on the outside in the red cap. And they gapped the others at this stage, but Anntelle sustained a long run to hit the lead about 75 metres out.
Running a race, and then Anntelle shifting to the middle. Anything Tudor just leading Real Dream. His riders first to go for the whip. Anntelle on the outside, trying hard to pick them up. Anything Tudor, the leader. Little Anntelle is gobbling them up now quickly. Now Anntelle raced past Anything Tudor and Real Dream, and Anntelle is a mile too good. Anntelle from Anything Tudor and Rubo on the outside.
Anntelle scoring there from Anything Tudor. Seventh event was the Jim Pike Welter, and Mick Dittman at his best to score here on Lancelotto. You'll notice him in second place at the home turn, a very confident ride. He resorts to the whip only in the last 150 metres, holds off Tuna 2 by a head.
350 to go, and Lancelotto booted 2 lengths on Shadamanio. Gamesters called it a day. Tuna 2 rushing down the outside, and then Papa's favourite and Rayonia. Dittman pulls the whip on Lancelotto. Tuna 2 the immediate challenger now. It's Lancelotto just in front, but Tuna 2's drawn level with him. Lancelotto's giving plenty. Tuna 2 won't go on with it, and Lancelotto's going to score. Lancelotto from Tuna 2. Photo between Papa's favourite and Rayonia for third.
Dittman at his very best to score there on Lancelotto. Final event went to the well-bred Mighty Planet, and a big win this too, because he was forced very wide and showed plenty of courage in the straight. That's him in the gold and green colours, about 4 out from the inside rail.
On the outside, Mighty Planet starting to put in a claim, and on the inside of him looking for the way through zoning, and then go Rebel and Sir Centurion. Parnassus goes to the lead 150 out. The immediate challenger is Mighty Planet. Parnassus and Mighty Planet. Mighty Planet races up and heads off Parnassus. Zoning getting clear, but all too late. And Mighty Planet goes on to beat zoning. Third home in the race on the inside, Parnassus.
Mighty Planet from the Bart Cummings stable, landing the final event at Rose Hill. A look now at the TAB information from the Rose Hill meeting. The double numbers, 15 and 2, paid $23.40, and a healthy treble dividend for 4, 15 and 2, $573.40. That was Rose Hill. We'll take a break now and come back and have a look at the big meeting from Moonee Valley yesterday. The first was the hurdle. Very good finish to a hurdle here, because My Hutch and Mister had a great struggle in the straight. It was only from just before the last hurdle that My Hutch got the better, and he had a half length to spare at the finish.
Whoever jumps at best will probably win. They've both got the whips out. My Hutch, the outer, got a neck in front as he comes to it from Mister. Jumped it a little bit better. Mister fighting back the inside. My Hutch just in front. Mister trying to get him. My Hutch will win it by a head to Mister. 3 lengths away, Mount Visco, a good run third in front of Lord Marcellus.
Second event went to the heavily backed Zamgarrie, started 2 to 1. You'll notice in the green colours coming towards the home turn, And the rider seemed in a couple of minds here, but eventually goes for the split between the two leaders, Secret Diamond and El Peligro.
Fire from Fast Food. Secret Diamond in front, 400 out, drew a length on El Peligro, and Zamgarrie's going to be the danger. Well clear of Burn already, and they're followed by Get the Rent. But Secret Diamond turned for home, a length and a half to El Peligro, with Zamgarrie under the whip, about to try and go between them. Secret Diamond in front, Zamgarrie the challenger coming out after at the 100-metre mark. Secret Diamond a neck in front. Zamgarrie's finishing better though, and Zamgarrie takes the lead near the line, and Zamgarrie goes on to win about 3 parts of a length to Secret Diamond. El Peligro third.
Solid win there to Zamgarrie. The third went to Richfield's Lad. Notice Bill Collins seems to have some surprise in his voice when the lady rider, Miss C. Tucker, switches around the heels of the two leaders and comes to the post under hands and heels riding on Richfield's Lad.
Together with Richfield's Lad about to come at the pair of them on the outside. Contemplation in front, but Richfield's Lad with this young lady riding for dear life is going to beat them. Richfield's Lad drew to the other two, hit the front end. Richfield's Lad's going on to win. In fact, it canters home by more than 2 lengths to Contemplation. A hit away third, Solitaire Level.
The winner there, Richfield's Lad, and I don't think Bill Collins is a great fan of the lady jockeys, if you could take anything from the tone of his voice there. Fourth event went to Velveret in the blue colours outside the leaders and goes on to score by about a half length under hard whip riding.
Velveret led, Natalie's Pride fighting back, changed the tune, about to come at them from Nickel Gem looking for a run, but Velveret still in front of Change the Tune, holding it at bay. Nickel Gem getting out now too late, and Velveret's going on to win the day and win it nicely. 3 parts of length to Change the Tune. Oh, Nickel Gem's got third.
Fifth event was the Benson and Hedges Handicap. Went to Imaguy, but only after a tremendous struggle in the straight with Benlock, who refused to concede defeat and is only headed in the last couple of strides. At this stage, as they turn for home, Imaguy on the outside looked long odds on to go and score a pretty easy win.
Nothing between them. He's had to fidget for the whip on Imaguy, and Benlock showing his great courage has put his head in front again. He might be the stronger horse. Benlock is just in front. Imaguy throwing at him on the line. Benlock, Imaguy. A nose to Benlock. 2.5 lengths. Pochinella from here's a top.
Sixth event, the Manikato Stakes, and Vite Cheval made a triumphant return to racing. He really relishes the soft tracks. He's an outstanding galloper, but particularly so on rain-affected going. We've got this race from the start, and have a look at the run of the third place getter, Lace's Fury, who was actually last in the middle part, and a good effort also from Centane, the runner-up. The fall here, Stelina, about the 600 metres.
River Rough working hard from the outside to try and get across, and Pashenka's Gem holding them out with Rich Borg. About a length further back is Final Affair, Bowl Jet, and then Centane. River Rough about 8th from Belstani, going up inside Vite Cheval, Cabobany, Penny Edition, Laser's Fury. River Rough round the 800 corner, can't get over, about a neck to Stelina and a length Rich Borg, and they're followed by Quabo, Bowl Jet wide, Red Tempo 6 deep. They were followed by Pashenka's Gem in on the fence, and then a length to Belstani, Final Affair, and then a length to Centane from Vite Cheval. River Rough at the 450, led about a neck to Stelina. Bowl Jet, Quabo coming at it, and Red Tempo 6 wide, letting go now. They're followed by Richborg, Pashenka's Gem, and further back is Final Affair. Oh, there's a 4, Stelina's down on the corner, and Red Tempo raced up the River Rough, and Bowl Jet a line of 3, a length to Quabo, and then came Centane, followed by Vite Cheval, Final Affair. Red Tempo, a narrow leader into the straight from River Rough. He's got a neck in front. Here's Final Affair driving through. River Rough battling back. River Rough and Red Tempo, and Centane grabbing the lot of them, and on the rails, Vite Cheval. Vite Cheval's got up a little win from Centane. Oh, Laser's Fury's nearly run third out wide.
Yes, Laser's Fury did get third out wide, and I think he's a horse to follow this spring, but Vite Cheval certainly looks set for a big spring campaign also. Seventh event went to Jonasta. That's him on the outside, the grey. He wintered in Queensland, but was sent out unwanted in the betting at 50 to 1.
Thanks to Ben Farris running on from top banner. Then Mintmaster down the outside is affected. Halfway down the straight, Jonasta drew clear. Ben Farris battling on well on the outside, but Jonasta's going to win the money. Jonasta wins by 2 lengths. Star Pyramid hung on for second just in front of Ben Farris.
Dark Rhythm was very heavily backed to win the 8th event, ridden by Darren Gouts. He was backed in from 6s to start 7 to 2, and he wins very easily under hands and heels riding from Gouchy. Comes with a well-timed run to hit the lead just after they made the home turn.
On the corner they race now, and here Fast Look went up 4 deep to take a narrow lead from Nosser Slide. Stylish Wish is gone. She's got classes there. Vain Display badly boxed up as the leader got away, and then Dark Rhythm, base speed, nowhere to go, is hopeless. In the straight, fast look in front, but Dark Rhythm has grabbed it in a stride on the outside and dashed to the lead. Vain Display getting out, running on towards the placings, but Dark Rhythm, hands and heels, goes on to win by 2.5 lengths. Fast look second, 2 lengths away third, Vain Display.
Very easy victory there to Dark Rhythm. Final went to another outsider, Santa Orienne, at 50 to 1. Scored from Camdana Quest, and Amelin, the Adelaide galloper, tidy third.
On the corner, acclimatised led Amelin tackling it. Rash Dancer badly held up, and they were followed by Lady Prospect. Here's Santa Orienne and Camdana Queen out wide. In the straight, Amelin took the lead. On the outside, Camdana Queen, Santa Orienne, Rash Dancer getting a rails run, but only struggling. Santa Orienne's going to get up and beat them all. Santa Orienne's won it. And next to Camdana Queen, a half head to Amelin.
One to have the bookies cheering in the last, Santa Orienne at 50 to 1. Look now at the TAV information from Moonee Valley. Double numbers were 8 and 3, and the dividend there $108.40. And the treble numbers 4, 8 and 3, $532.70 the dividend, while the extra double combination 9 and 14 paid $1,038.30, with those two 50 to 1 shots scoring there in the extra double. Well, David Hains, the owner of Rose of Kingston and Kingston Town, among other outstanding gallopers in Australia in recent years, has gone into a new venture in America. He started a stud over there in bluegrass country at Lexington, Kentucky, and Kerry O'Brien from our American office has filed this report on David Hains' new stud.
Rose of Kingston was one of the greatest racing fillies ever to grace the Australian turf. She even beat the colts in her age, a rare feat in horse racing. Today, Rose of Kingston grazes on the lush pastures of Lexington, Kentucky, hallowed thoroughbred ground indeed, and she's spearheading an ambitious plan by Melbourne businessman and racehorse breeder David Hains to establish a top international stud here in bluegrass country. In doing so, Hains is taking on the biggest and the best in the world.
10,200,000, sold him 10,200,000.
This American-bred yearling was sold at auction recently, just down the road from the Hains stud, for a mere $10 million. His sire, Northern Dancer, commands a stud fee of nearly $1 million per mare. One of Rose of Kingston's Lexington neighbours and a possible future lover is another famous stallion, Seattle Slew. His offspring have only been racing for 2 years, but he's already sired a Kentucky Derby winner.
Swale leads to the wire.
And a 1/40th share in him recently sold for $3.5 million. The windfall profits for David Hains are potentially huge, but the risk is substantial too.
They can get themselves in trouble all by themselves, and without supervision or the right facilities, you could lose a $100,000 foal in a matter of minutes.
It was this powerful racing machine, Kingston Town, who first thrust David Hains into thoroughbred prominence. He was arguably the best horse to race in Australia for 20 years. He's just been retired with unsound legs after an unsuccessful attempt to overcome his injury problems and race in America. And with Rose of Kingston and her mother, Kingston Rose, in residence in Lexington, it's no surprise that Hains would call his new stud Kingston Park.
We've taken this particular farm and built it from scratch to our own specifications, and compared to many of the other studs that are in this area, it's not as commercial as some of the others. We don't put the frills on.
There are 10 mares here with 8 foals at foot and 2 valuable yearlings. And the pride of Kingston Park is Rose of Kingston and her first foal, born on St. Valentine's Day in May this year. Stud manager Ian Carmichael values the mare at between $2 and $3 million.
Rose of Kingston is a very good mother. This is her first foal, and she hasn't had any trouble adjusting to the maternal life. She's a very kind, docile mare for her size. She's larger than most mares that you run up against, and it's very nice to work around her.
Rose of Kingston's baby colt was sired by a fashionable English-bred sire who now lives nearby, called Green Dancer, son of the famous Nijinsky. Already he has a nickname, Pee-wee Rose.
He's a very nice individual, and he's also very independent, and he seems to have a whole lot of heart and very aggressive, which might indicate that he'll be a great racehorse. He's a very nice, conformed individual, and I would say, he could be worth $500,000 pretty easily.
The Hains investment is substantial. Conservatively, $15 million worth of land, and Carmichael, who has worked at some of America's top studs, has a brief to build carefully along the same successful formula as the Hains stud in Victoria. The horses will have plenty of room to move and the best care. There's even a computer bank on top stallions around the world, and Carmichael is confident Rose of Kingston and the other mares will have access to the best.
This filly did it all, and you couldn't really ask for anything more. She wouldn't have any trouble getting to even sires like Northern Dancer or Seattle Sloop.
This is the famous Keeneland racecourse, one of the oldest tracks in America and right in the heart of bluegrass country. Some of the best horses in the world have raced and won here. It would be fitting for Rose of Kingston's first son to make his debut at Keeneland.
The horses will do the talking for us. We will try and raise the best animal that we can, and if they're successful at the racetrack, then people will understand that we run a good operation.
When Kingston Town was a wayward 2-year-old racing in Sydney, the advice to David Hains was that he would never win a race unless he was gelded. So the king lost his manhood and became famous. If he was entire today, he'd be worth a fortune as a breeding proposition. It's unlikely that the same fate will befall Rose's son.
Gelding Kingston Town was given a great deal of thought before they did it. I don't think they expected him to be as great a racehorse as he was, and I think that might have the effect that we give our colts a great deal of consideration before we go ahead and geld them.
The history of Australian breeding has been based very strongly on European and American pedigree. It's a bold gamble by David Hains to try to turn the trend around, but he couldn't have picked a nicer lady to start the ball rolling. From Lexington, Kentucky, this is Kerry O'Brien reporting.
It'll be very exciting to follow the progress of Kingston Stud, and in particular the progeny of Rose of Kingston. She was a great race mare. That's all we have in racing.
You were threatened, your life was threatened, obviously.
Yeah, my life was threatened. He threatened my young brother, the jockey. He said he'd blow him out the saddle.
No matter what happens, I'll always love you. The last line I always tell him.
Larry Holmes boxes less for the love than the money, and he's made plenty. His next fight could earn him $10 million.
Some of them are sadists. They love it. They want to beat up people. They want to say, hey, man, you see how they knocked that guy out? I broke his jaw. I did this. They like it, man.
For the Holmes family, it's a case of easy come, easy go. He has more cars than he can count, and his wife has had to get used to all those diamonds.
I really don't like diamonds, okay? But when you have them, you get used to them.
They may look like a pair of layabouts, and they are. She's a 30...
In racing circles, the name Hayden Haitana has suddenly become as famous as Farlap. Haitana has been missing since the 18th of August when a horse he trained, Fine Cotton, was found to be involved in a ring-in scandal at Eagle Farm in Brisbane. There's a lot of people who'd like to talk to him, officials from the Queensland Turf Club, police, and the punters who lost their money when Fine Cotton was disqualified. But even more ominously, there are the masterminds behind the fix who may want to get to Haitana before he spills the beans. Well, they're too late. Hayden Haitana has just done an interview with us, giving the inside story of one of the biggest race fix sensations of recent years. A ring-in, if you don't know, is when a horse with mediocre form, attracting long odds, is secretly replaced by a look-alike that has a much better chance of winning. In this case, the look-alike, the horse that actually won at Eagle Farm, was Bold Personality. If the ruse hadn't been discovered, those who organised it, or knew it was on, stood to make millions. Haitana tells us he's in real fear for his life, and it's not hard to see why when you hear what he has to say. What kind of people are involved in this whole deal? Obviously, you were dealing with the front man.
Yeah, dealing with the front man. He's got an organisation behind him.
Who asked you to do it?
He said he was fronting for one of Australia's biggest bookmakers.
Do you know who that bookmaker is?
I know who he is, yeah.
Has he ever spoken to you?
No, he's never spoken to me at all, no.
How can you be sure that he's the man behind this?
I've heard he mentioned the name to me. He's mentioned the name to me and said there's going to be $1 million on it. There's only very few people that can come up with that type of money.
Can you tell me that name?
I can tell you the name.
And you're absolutely sure that that's the man behind it all?
That's the man behind it, yeah.
It was really a big plan that involved New South Wales.
New South Wales, Darwin, every state in Australia, Fiji, Suva, New Guinea, Singapore, anywhere that you could get a bet on in a betting house.
Hayden Haitana isn't exactly the easiest man to find. It took days of negotiating and secret meetings to get to the man at the centre of one of Australia's biggest racing scandals. He's a masked man, and he's on the run.
And he said, would you be interested in working a horse, top Sydney Sprinter, right? And he said, would you bring that in and get us a good price on it? I'll offer you 20 grand if you can do it. And I said, fair enough. It'll take at least 5 weeks to 10 weeks.
What do you mean by get us a good price on it?
I thought he meant run it dead 3 or 4 times and
pull it back a few
times, yeah, and then set it for a race. And I said, yeah, I'll be in that for you. And then he told me, he said, we haven't got time to do that. It's got to be done in the next week or fortnight. I said, you have no hope. And he says, well, if you don't do it, there's 20 grand for you. I said, that's not worth losing my licence over 20 grand. And he says, well, we want to ring in a horse. He said, you've got a horse racing called Fine Cotton. And they said, well, we'll switch our horse for that. And I said, no way, mate. Buzz off, you know. And then he pulled it, said, look at this here, showed me his gun. And he says, you want to end up like the trainer Brown?
Dead.
Dead.
George Brown was found in this car 4 months ago. He'd been bashed, his arms and legs had been broken, and his body set alight. They say because he refused to be part of a ring-in. When were you first asked to do a ring-in job?
The week before this final one went through.
Well, what happened there when you were asked to do it?
Oh, they wanted me to substitute Fine Cotton for a top Sydney Sprinter, and I said it couldn't work, and I scratched the horse.
You scratched the horse yourself?
Yeah, I scratched it, yeah.
So that's a week before
the
Eagle
personality one, yeah.
Right. Although he knew the operation wouldn't work, Haitana had compelling reasons to go along with it.
He threatened his young brother, the jockey. He said he'd blow him out of the saddle.
He said?
He'd blow him out of the saddle. And they said, we know where your wife and kids are.
This is how the scam was supposed to work. Enter a mediocre performer, Fine Cotton, and at the last moment, switch it with a much better horse, Bold Personality. A proven winner, racing as a rank outsider. It's a simple but risky venture, and one that Haitana said would never work.
I said, you'll never get away with it. I said, pull out of it. I said, it won't work. The stewards will pick it up straight away. And they said, it's got to be on this week. The money's on. He said, you've buggered us up last week. I said, no, you can't do it twice in a row, otherwise we'll get your wife and kids.
And he knew they meant business. This is what happened to Haitana's car when he refused at first to go along with the switch.
My strapper's driving home that night. They run them off the road, packed the car with picks, wrecked it, and tell Hayden we're not joking. So I knew they were serious then.
As far as Haitana was concerned, he had no choice but to cooperate. He left home and headed for Eagle Farm Racecourse.
I picked him up. They told me to spray his feet white, made the paint and everything needed, spray his back legs white. I said, no, you've got to be kidding. I said, what? You spray somebody's hair, and I said, it'll end up like an old paintbrush. It'll go stiff as a board. And I said, you're stupid, you know. And
what was their reaction to it?
Do as you're told. So I thought, oh, damn it, I'll just tape the horse's back legs and hope the stewards pick it up on the way through.
Were you nervous on the way in?
I was dead. No, I wasn't nervous, I was just dead. You know, this is blown everything. You've got no way out. I was feeling real low and trying to figure out how I could still stop it going through. So I thought if I get a puncture, at least that's legal. But how do I put a hole in the how do I put a hole in the car tyre? You know, and they wouldn't believe me anyway. They had guys at Coffs Harbour watching my brother ride. I had to go through with it. I dropped the real fine cotton off in a safe spot.
Where?
Close to the racecourse.
Where did you pick up Bold Personality?
He was dropped off in my name at the same place.
Mm-hmm.
So I get to the track and I'm escorted in by a couple of heavies, put the horse down, and then I didn't pay up for it. I thought I'd just sit here for a while. And the guy came up to me with the receipt.
He'd already been paid for.
Already been paid for. And then I took the colours into the jockey, and they said the stewards want to see you. I thought, you're a beauty, I'm off. And I've won and seen the stewards, and they fined me $20 for not declaring the jockey.
A minor
a minor thing.
What went through your mind there when you knew that the stewards wanted to talk to you?
I thought, well, they've heard a whisper about it, because half the people on course knew about it. And
so you thought you'd had it, in other words, when they asked for it?
Yeah, that's right, yeah. I thought they'd caught it before it's gone through. And it didn't, so I had to saddle the horse up, take it out. I was under guard at all times. And it raced.
Harbour Gold, fine cotton's going to hold on, I think. There's nothing in it. Fine cotton maybe...
But the scam collapsed almost before the race was over.
Fine cotton, the bookmakers won't be able to pay.
Prior to the running of that race, you say you got the impression that everyone on the track knew that it was Bold Personality,
That's
a ring.
Right, yeah.
How do you know that?
Just a feeling. I got a buzz from the crowd, and the race was only halfway through, and people were running around. All the money came on course, which it shouldn't have done. They said there'd been not a cent put on course. Everything was going to be taken care of overseas, SP and all that. Somehow there's been a leak to the other bookies, and they've taken the money and then ran down and called out ringing.
There were people running around the course calling ringing?
Calling ringing, yeah. And the jockey was still on the horse.
So there were bookies there who knew that it was a ring-in and that they would make money on the fact that there was a ring-in.
Had to be.
You were earlier, as you said, offered a sum of $20,000 to bring a horse in at good odds.
That's right, yeah.
Did you expect to come out at the tail end of Saturday's race with $20,000 in your pocket?
I was happy to come out alive.
Bold Personality was a scratching from the city handicap.
I'm a real family man, and I miss my little daughter and that. To be in the hotel room after hotel room is terrible. I can't ring them, they can't ring me, they don't know where I am, I don't know where they are.
A week ago, the name Hayden Haitana meant nothing. Today, everybody, police, racing stewards and punters, want to hear his story.
With an estimated $1 million, stewards have ordered a full inquiry.
As we speak now, do you feel that your life is in danger?
Oh, definitely. And could be worse next week. So,
because of the inquiry?
That's right, yeah.
Hayden, do you fear for your wife's life?
Oh, yes, of course I do. Yeah. They've threatened her, and my work in the car over and that, and they really mean it. And if they think I've done them into the stewards, they will definitely do something. But she's safe at the moment, but only for a few days, and my friends are going to shift her.
The inquiry starts on Monday. You're not going to appear?
No, I won't be able to, unless things change drastically in the next 2 days.
Will you appear at all in the course of the inquiry?
Yes, I'll appear, and Fine Cotton will turn up.
Where is Fine Cotton now?
Oh, he's safe and well, and ready to have a match race with with these other guys. No, he's in a safe position, but they'd like to destroy him as well. So.
You say they're big money, big power people. How can you hope to get away unscathed from those people?
Oh, I can't. I'm not even pretending that I can get away from it. There's no way that even in the inquiry that I'll come out on top. So I know I've got to wear it.
How about the damage done to Hayden Haitana?
Irreparable. never fix that. I've lost everything now.
Not so much a story about a sport, but about a man who happens to be the king of his sport at the moment. He's Larry Holmes, the heavyweight boxing champion of the world. His story is the kind Hollywood writers dream about. A poor black kid with little or no education goes from washing cars to become the champ and a multi-millionaire. Holmes is now preparing for one last title fight against Jerry Coetzee, a white South African. He expects to come out of that with another $10 million. How much money has boxing earned you so far?
In 6 years, boxing probably earned me around 47, 8, 9 million.
47? Poor, black, and a school dropout at 13. In boxing, that's so often how the story begins. Only Larry Holmes changed the ending. The 13-year-old dropout became the world heavyweight champion and a millionaire many times over.
How many people can make $3 million in 1 hour?
But what keeps you at it? Is it the money, the fame, or the love of it, or being the best in the world at something?
Well, I think all of that is all put together. But right now, it's the dollars.
Another right hand on that jaw.
Do this to a man in the street, and you can end up in jail. Do it here in the ring, and you can end up a hero, like Larry Holmes. He's 34, he's held his title for 6 years, and he says there's a lot of fight left in him yet. Can you get better as you get older?
You get smarter. You get smarter. If you want to get smarter. I can say that I have got smarter. I don't have to move and run like I used to do. I can stay there and see a punch coming and block it and pick it off and move away from it when I have to. And I feel that now that I'm older and picked up a little bit more weight, I'm stronger. I hit harder.
It's hard for me because I feel every punch that he takes. I cry, you know. I get excited and everything. It's hard.
A boxer's wife isn't supposed to interfere, but Diane Holmes says it takes a lot of self-control to watch your man being hurt. Have you ever lost your control?
Yeah. Yes, I have. The Mike Weaver fight, I thought Larry was hurt. And I stood up and I was screaming and hollering. I was carrying on. And I guess out of the glimpse of his eye, he seen me. And he turned around and he said to me, he said, "Sit down, stop that crying." He said, "I'm okay." And I sat down. That was the last fight I ever did that. But I was scared. I was really scared, and I let it out.
It made my mind up
your mouth been running every since.
Don't pray to God because God ain't in this.
God ain't in it.
Okay? I've already made my mind up to hurt you.
Larry's in Las Vegas for a fight with Tim Witherspoon. They meet in the hotel lobby. Now, Larry is no Muhammad Ali in the verbal side of boxing. No flights or poetic fancy. Just an earthy promise.
I'm going to knock all your 29 teeth down your throat.
Hours drive out of New York gets you to a town that wasn't really famous for anything. Eastern Pennsylvania, the town that Larry Holmes put on the map. He's Easton's favorite son, the boy who dropped out of school to begin a career in a car wash.
Well, I not really want to hit anybody and earn a living, but that's the way that I had to go to make a living. With a 7th grade education, dropped out of school in the early stage. Nothing left but the box.
What you're saying, it was money? Survival?
Money. I can't make no money. The money that I'm making, I couldn't make money washing cars.
Larry's hit him with about 4 real.
This is the house that Larry built on his 3-acre estate. There's an indoor swimming pool just off the living room, a bathroom inspired by Caesar's palace. And out in the garden, your very own satellite TV receiving dish. All of it paid for by the punches that put this collection of trophies on the mantelpiece.
Larry Holmes retains the championship.
If you are the champ, then Larry says, live like a champ and look like one too.
Just the watch and the ring here are, you know, priceless.
How about this one? How much that cost?
You couldn't buy that one because that's a special made ring for me, especially designed for me. The championship ring when I won in 1978 with Kenny Norton.
Put a value on it, though. What would it be?
If I will go out and buy it, $50,000.
And for Diane, a diamond ring or two, or three, or four.
It's a gift. Larry gives me a gift before every fight.
Do you like diamonds? Most women do.
I really don't like diamonds, okay? But when you have them, you get used to them. You know, a diamond is, I like emeralds, okay? So a diamond is not really but when you have them, you get used to them and you wear them.
This is one of my favorites here, Spartan here. It runs about 120, 130 miles an hour.
That's the latest one, is it?
Yeah. It's custom made, but it's really fast.
How about this one?
This is my Golden Spirit.
Once, he used to wash cars for a living. Now, he just buys them. Lots of them. Larry calls them his toys.
And the Rolls? This is one of my first Rolls Royces that I bought. And I want to keep it for sentimental reasons. It's a nice
Larry
car.
changes his cars the way most of us change our clothes.
Back there.
How many cars have you got, Larry?
I really don't know. I have maybe 10, 13 cars if I put them all together. But for different moods, for different days, for different feelings, you know, all these cars give me a different feeling. I change. It's like clothes. You change. Certain pair of pants make me feel better than another pair. They're no heavier, thinner, you know.
Does he spend too much money, you think?
Yeah. Yes, he does. I think he does. But, like I say, he worked for it. And he has the right to spend as much as he'd like. Before a fight, he's jumpy. You know, it's a little touch and go.
Fight night, and the tension is almost unbearable as Larry psychs himself up for the job in hand. It's a time when even the slightest thing can turn into a big deal.
Our rules and regulations says no more than one roll of tape. And if you put more than one roll of tape in their head, I want it to come off.
His opponent's trainer has come into the champ's dressing room to complain about too much tape on Larry's hands.
Don't tell me it doesn't matter. It does matter now.
All part of that psychological warfare before a big fight.
I'm not going to knock him out. I'm just going to beat on him. I'm going to show you what pro is. And after this is over, Slim, don't ever in your life, as long as you're black, say another word to me. And you're going to be black until you die. No, that's a promise.
Have you ever felt sorry for someone during the fight? You're hurting the man, you know that, but he keeps coming back for more. Have you ever wished the fight would stop? That the other fighter would quit?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I always wish that. The quicker the fight is over, the better I feel.
From your point of view, but what about from the other guy's point of view?
Some of them are sadists. They love it. They want to beat up people. They want to say, hey, man, you see how I knocked that guy out? I broke his jaw. I did this. They like it, man. They brag about it. You know, it makes them feel good, make them feel big, you know.
Time is it? What time is it? What time?
What's the last thing you say to him before he gets out of the room and goes into that ring?
No matter what happens, I'll always love you. It's the last line I always tell him.
The rewards may be big, but so are the risks, especially the risk of brain damage.
Him getting hurt, I worry. You know, if I thought about that 24 hours a day, I'd be a nut. You know, you can't think about those things.
There are just so many blows to the head a man can take before something happens. You have to think of that.
Yeah, I mean, everything. Those are the chances we take. I always say a prayer. God, don't let me hurt this guy, and please don't let him hurt me.
In this fight, as in all others, Holmes goes on to win. He may not know what it is to lose, but he hasn't escaped unmarked altogether.
I was in the gym the other day boxing, you know, and I threw a right hand, and I busted my hand wide open. You know,
cut your hand?
Cut my hand. Freak accident.
That freak accident put 13 stitches in the champ's thumb and set him back 2 weeks in his training.
No sparring?
No. I'm probably running shadow boxing.
If there was a fight tomorrow, would you go in the ring with that?
Why not? It's only a finger.
Larry, you're 34. That's not an old man, but it's old enough for some people to say that Larry Holmes should give up boxing. He should retire the champ. What do you think of that?
I'm not really an old 34. I'm a young 34 years old. And I realize if I stay in this fight game too long, somebody's going to get me. I'm not a god or perfect. And I know that somebody will get me. But I'm just doing what I have to do now so that I don't have to go back into the banks and withdraw $2 million to build onto my hotel.
7, 8.
Bye. Hurry up, give me a kiss.
He had promised me that he was going to quit last year. Last Christmas, that was going to be my Christmas present from Larry. He was going to retire. But a fight came up. They offered him so much money and all this, and we sat down and we talked. And I told him, you fight until you're ready to quit.
I can go out there for 1 hour and make $4 or $5 million. So this is why it's irresistible to me right now.
Knowing when to quit. It's a decision Larry Holmes is finding hard to make.
Winning list. John, of course, scored at Bundamba on Thursday on Verminos. He's just back after about a 10-week break with a back injury. So great to see him quickly into winning form. It'll do his confidence the world of good. It's a good ride on Prince Pageant out in front. And he defeated Ballyman's Bay. Now, that's the favourite, Ballyman's Bay, slowly away, and he was decidedly unlucky. Prince Pageant going to the lead in the green colours.
Just began best. He's in front early from Prince Pageant, who's going fast to vie for the lead. Coney, Chief and Kayak are just off the pace, and then Gypsy Money. Ballyman's Boy with the advantage of the inside shot through to be 7th on settling down. He's saving ground now. Then Pocket Dynamo, Jewel and Prince. Then Avanti Lad, Marasca's well back, and Grey Forces last of all. 850 metres to go. Prince Pageant has taken over. Prince Pageant on the rails, leads by a length and a half on Kayaker, and Regius is a neck away 3rd. Then Gypsy Money. Over on the inside 5th is Coney Chief, 2 to Ballyman's Boy, and then Pocket Dynamo, June and Prince Marasca. Then Avanti Lad, and last of all Grey Force. Down the side, 600 metres left to go. Prince Pageant the leader. He's a length in front. Regius ridden along in 2nd place. A half length away 3rd is Kayaker, followed by Gypsy Money, and then Ballyman's Boy, Pocket Dynamo, Coney Chief. Then Avanti Lad, Jewel and Prince Marasca, and Grey Force. Into the straight, 350 metres to go. Prince Pageant clear. He's a length and a half in front. Regius to the outside has popped the big question now. He's coming home solidly, Regius. And Ballyman's Boy to the extreme outside with a great run. Oh, he wants to duck in behind them, Ballyman's Boy. Prince Pageant is still the leader. He's in front, Prince Pageant. He's about a half length clear of Regius. Ballyman's Boy to the outside again, but Prince Pageant in front. They hit the line. Prince Pageant first, tight 2nd and 3rd. Ballyman's Boy or Regius.
Yes, he was decidedly unlucky, Ballyman's Boy, and he shouldn't be long breaking through in maiden class. The second event went to Spark of Life. A great ride here from Glenn Killen to score on Spark of Life, who defeated Mr. Olympus and Currumbin Lights.
Settling down. Scrappy Sally's going fast with Nyehaven and Paint the Town Red. Granite Princess is now sliding up into 3rd place. Mr. Olympus a bit wide on the first bend, followed by Living Daylights, who's racing outside of Hail Cherie, then Dining Out. Currumbin Lights is caught wide in the early stages of the race, and then Spark of Life, High Cast Lad getting back to 2nd last, and Costadell is last. Into the back, 1,200 metres left to go. Nyehaven pulling hard in front, leads by a neck. Granite Princess is 2nd on the outside. A length and a half then to Scrappy Sally on the inside of Mr. Olympus, and Paint the Town Red splitting that pair in the centre. Hail Cherie's going nicely. She's 6th on the inside, and Living Daylights just checked there. He ran up onto the heels of Paint the Town Red immediately in front of him, and the boy had to stand high in the irons and rip him out of trouble. Currumbin Lights is next on the outside, then Spark of Life Dining Out, High Cast Lad, and Costadella. Coming down the side, 750 metres to go, and the lead at Nyehaven. Nyehaven's just in front as they swing down the side. Granite Princess is a head away 2nd. Mr. Olympus a length and a half away 3rd, then Scrappy Sally, Currumbin Lights. Paint the Town Red hard ridden at the moment. Hail Cherie awkwardly placed on the inside. Living Daylights now coming to the outside, starting a strong run, and then Dining Out, Spark of Life, High Cast Lad, and Costadella. Into the straight now, 350 metres left to go. Granite Princess has gone to the lead, but tackled immediately by Mr. Olympus and Currumbin Lights on the outside. Pulled to the extreme outside. Living Daylights is making up ground pretty quickly. Hail Cherie behind a wall of horses. She's hard-ridden. And Spark of Life, look at him. He's weaving his way through the field. He's coming at these leaders pretty hard. Oh, he's swapping them now, Spark of Life. And Spark of Life races to the lead, and he's going on to win it. Spark of Life first. Now it's tied second and third. Mr. Olympus second. Currumbin Lights third.
Thought an excellent performance there from the third place getter Currumbin Lights, who was trapped wide all the way and battled on strongly in the straight. He's one to follow in that class. The third event, the Galilee Graduation, and Alchemist, ridden by Gavin Duffy, defeated Our Thrill and Good Prospects, who made up ground late to finish third.
Palace began okay, and there she is. She's spearing through, going up, looking for the lead. Desjardins is showing plenty of pace as well, and Gladius began nicely, settling third. Ring of Melody going through to be about fourth. Lee Walken finally now drifting back to midfield on the inside of Alchemist. Ariadne's trapped very wide in the early stages with Perrine. Good Prospects is drifting well back in the field, now second last. Rocky's Habit well back, and Our Thrill saving ground going up along the inside. There looks to be plenty of pace on as they come down the side. 600 metres left to go. Winter Palace, the neck in front of Desjardins. 3 lengths away third. Ring of Melody, then Gladius. Alchemist starting a run, going up 3 wide. Another length and a half to Lee Walk, and then finally Good Prospects, Ariadne. Further back, Rocky's Habit, and then finally in Perrine. On the turn into the straight, 350 metres to go. Winter Palace kicked away from them. Winter Palace 2 lengths in front. Alchemist making up ground pretty quickly on the outside and trying to go through on the centre. Ring of Melody, there's no room there. She almost came down. Alchemist loomed up on the outside of Winter Palace. Ring of Melody, she's balancing up again. She's coming home solidly again. Our Thrill on the outside is rattling home, but it's Alchemist in front. They hit the line. Alchemist first. Alchemist has won it. Our Thrill second. Now it's a great go for third.
Alchemist scoring there. Now, Gavin Duffy was subsequently suspended for an incident in the straight. We'll show you the slow-motion replay, and you'll notice the grey move back in and block Ring of Melody. It was good riding from Duffy. Just a fraction earlier, and he would have been clear of Stewart's concern. But you'll notice at this stage, it's the favourite Winter Palace. Now, that's Duffy shouldering Ring of Melody back in behind the tiring leader. It certainly won the race for Alchemist, but unfortunately earned Duffy a suspension, his first, incidentally, since March. Ring of Melody gets into the clear here, but I feel if she'd have been able to get through on the inside of Alchemist, she would have tested that mare. The grey Alchemist, good ride by Gavin Duffy, is a shade unlucky to be suspended. Fourth event, the Far Lap Flying, and Connor's Empire. What a grand performer he's been. Has now earned in excess of $70,000 in prize money. He defeated Some Unit and the very unlucky Sir Rocket.
Up at a third place, then Supatanor. Getting back Connor's Empire, a break of 4 lengths then to Shawana. Ambushed as last of all. Son of Gosh is really flying. They've got 850 metres to go. Son of Gosh dashed away. 2.5 lengths in front of Some Unit. He's going very strongly up at a second place, Some Unit. Sir Rocket has dropped back a length away third on the inside. Another length and a half, Connor's Empire. Then Supatanor. 4 lengths to Ambush. And Shawana's last of all. Son of Gosh well clear. Down the side, 600 metres to go. Son of Gosh, 4 lengths in front of Some Unit. A length and a half away third is Sir Rocket, followed by Connor's Empire. Then Supatanor ambushed, and Shawana given a couple of smacks with the whip last. On the home turn, just short of 400 metres to go. Son of Gosh, well clear, 3 lengths in front. On the outside, running on fairly well, Some Unit. Connor's Empire has moved up into third place. Then Sir Rocket and Supatanor. Son of Gosh is still the leader, 200 metres to go. He's starting to get the wobbles now. Connor's Empire on the outside, going out after Son of Gosh. Some Unit still there in the centre. Sir Rocket the outside. Connor's Empire went to the lead. Some Unit trying to go with Connor's Empire. Sir Rocket flying on the outside. They hit it. Connor's Empire. Connor's Empire just beat Some Unit and Sir Rocket third.
Michael Kerr, the rider of third place getter Sir Rocket, entered a protest against the runner-up Some Unit for an incident in the straight. And we'll show you that now in slow motion. As they're coming up towards the 200 metres, it's Son of Gosh in front, Some Unit, and behind in the yellow colours you'll notice Sir Rocket disappointed. He has to switch 3 wide, and it takes him 50 metres or so to really get balanced up. It's Son of Gosh in front. Connor's Empire 3 wide takes the lead. Some Unit in the middle. Now have a look at Sir Rocket in the yellow colours. The last 50 metres he makes up plenty of ground on the first 2. I feel if he had gained that split at about the 250 metres mark, he would have just about landed the money instead of finishing third. Now the first 4 from Doomben yesterday. We'll take a break and come back.
And continue our Doomben review.
Really got the whip into play in the straight. That's LZ80 in the purple colours, just slicing between runners to go to the lead.
King's a little wide in the early stages. Dancing Man getting back. Sovereign River next on the inside, and then Tangara Magic Cobbler. There's not a great deal of speed on in the early stages. 1,200 metres to go. LZ80 in front, leads by a neck lower. Tully Lad running second. A length and a half away third, Lock King. He's a bit deep and pulling a shade. Joker next. followed by Delegate on the rails. He's running fifth, a length and a half to Emily. Then Sovereign River on the inside of Master Craig, then Dancer Man, Magic Cobbler and Tangara. 800 metres left to go. El Jadadi, 3/4 of a length in front of Lock King, and Lower Tully Lad third on the inside. Delegate getting a nice run fourth on the rails, then Joker, Emily, Sovereign River, Dancer Man, Master Craig, then Tangara, and last of all Magic Cobbler. Onto the home turn, 450 metres left to go. El Jadadi, 3/4 of a length in front of Lock King, Lower Tully Lad third, coming to the outside, followed by Delegate. He's snookered on the rails at the moment. Joker to the extreme outside, then MLA, Dancer Man, Sovereign River, and further back Master Craig. He's giving them about 8 lengths, 250 metres out. El Jadadi's the leader. El Jadadi about to be joined by Lock King. Delegate's going for a run in the centre. He's getting it now, followed by Sovereign River, who's finishing fast on the outside. El Jadadi's just in front of Lock King. Sovereign River cutting down the pair of them. El Jadadi, Lock King, Sovereign River, they hit the line. Oh, gee, it's close. This is tight, this one. El Jadadi or Lock King, and a nose away third, Sovereign River.
Desperate whip work there from Graham Cook to score on El Jadadi in the fifth. Sixth event provided an upset with the defeat of the odds-on Proper Job. Victory to Chance Always, who really lunges the last 10 metres to nail the favourite. Now Compromise battling on well for third under his big weight. Proper Job's the horse on the outside in the pink colours.
Chance Always now, and Spander's pushing through in the centre. Trigateur's actually the leader, running up to the winning post the first time. He's going fiercely, Trigateur. He leads by 3/4 of a length on Spander. Spander has the advantage of the inside. Proper Job in third place, racing outside of Our Compromise. Then Noble Claudius. And at the rear of the field is Chance Always, running up the Nudgy Road side. And Trigateur the leader, 2 lengths in front of Spander. Still going a bit keenly, the leader, Trigateur. Spander second. Proper Job is 3 lengths away third, racing on the outside of Our Compromise. Another length and a half to Noble Claudius, and Chance Always is last. It looks as though there's a fair bit of speed on as they run into the back. 1,200 metres to go. Trigateur, 2 lengths in front. Spander second. A length and a half away third. Proper Job on the outside of Our Compromise. Another length and a half to Noble Claudius, and Chance Always is last. No real change in the order as they go down past the 1,000-metre mark. And the leader, Trigateur, a length and a half in front. Proper Job is now moving up into second place on the outside. Spander third. A length and a half then to Our Compromise, followed by Noble Claudius, and Chance Always is last. 800 metres left to go. Trigateur, 2 lengths in front. Proper Job running second. Spander dropping out of it. He's under the whip in third place, passed by Our Compromise. Then Noble Claudius, and Chance Always still at the rear. 600 metres left to go. Trigateur the leader, but sitting right on his back is Proper Job as they run onto the home turn. 2 lengths away third, Our Compromise, hard ridden, and then Noble Claudius, Chance Always, and Spander. Around the home turn, just short of 400 metres to go. Trigateur the leader as they flatten for the run-in. Proper Job now popped the big question on the outside. Running up into third place is Our Compromise, and then Noble Claudius. Proper Job's just about got his nose in front. Trigateur's battling on gamely, but it's Proper Job just in front of Trigateur. Our Compromise is trying hard on the outside, but with the big pull in the weights, Proper Job's in front. He's going to win it. I think Chance Always is flying at the end. They hit the line. Proper Job, I think he's just won. Proper Job or Chance Always, and Our Compromise third.
Very tricky photo there, and the judge giving the race to Chance Always. There's different riding tactics employed on Chance Always yesterday. He was ridden from well back, but the true pace really suited him. He was able to motor home. We'll show you the slow motion, and Proper Job looked in no danger of defeat here inside the 100 metres. On his outside, the baldy face is Our Compromise, then Noble Claudius, and here's Chance Always in the purple colours. There's only 50 metres or so to go, and it still looks like Proper Job's going to score a decisive win, but here comes Chance Always down the outside, and Our Compromise in the middle. As they get close to the line, Chance Always really going 3 or 4 to Proper Job's 1. And under his lightweight, I thought he was a little bit disappointing, Proper Job, yesterday. 7th event was the Peter Pan graduation, and Valerous scoring a well-deserved win here from Cole Prince. Had to survive a protest, but Valerous ran very smart time. I think he's sure to win in open class in the next few weeks.
Drops to the rear. King Chabalon's running to the lead. They run up to the winning post the first time, and it's King Chabalon crossing over onto the rails now. He's a couple of lengths in front of Interiors, and Ponga's a half length away third on the rails, followed by Cole Prince. And Valerous caught out a little bit wide. He's 3 deep at the moment. Lahara Lad next on the inside, and then Chief Mate in a half, and Prize Dash is last. Heading up the Nudgy Road side, just over 1,400 metres to go. King Chabalon's going keenly in front, 2 clear of Interiors on the outside of Ponga, followed by Cole Prince, Lahara Lad on the inside, and then Valerous, who's still trapped out 3 deep. Another length and a half to Chief Mate, and then in a half and Prize Dash. Speed slowing as they go into the back, just short of 1,200 metres to go. King Cheval a length and a half in front. Chief Mate coming up quickly on the outside, running up into second place now. Interiors in the centre, third. Ponga over on the rails, fourth. A length and a half into Valerous, who's in a little bit closer. Lahara Lad is next on the inside, and then Cold Prince in a half and Prize Dash. 850 metres to go. King Cheval still the leader. He's a length in front of Interiors, who's travelling nicely in second place. Chief Mate third on the outside of Ponga, a length and a half to Valerous, who's niggled along a little bit to hold his ground at the moment. Lahara Lad next on the inside, then in a half starting a run, Cold Prince and Prize Dash. Coming down the side, 550 to go. King Cheval two in front of Interiors, two to Chief Mate on the outside of Ponga. A length further back to Valerous starting a run, then in a half, Cold Prince now going forward. Lahara Lad on the inside and Prize Dash straightening up, 350 metres to go. King Cheval about to be joined by Interiors on the outside. She's going up to go to the lead, Interiors. Here's Valerous. He's winding up on the outside. He's coming home with a great run. And then Cold Prince and Chief Mate. Interiors in front, tackled by Valerous. Valerous has got his nose in front of Interiors. Today might be his day. Cold Prince on the outside's rattling home. Valerous in front, drawing to the line. Yes, he's too good for the Valerous. Valerous first, second Cold Prince, tight third. It's a photo between Prize Dash and Interiors.
Might have noticed Mike Telling didn't resort to the whip, just hands and heels on Valerous, and I think he's the type of horse who responds best to that quiet style of riding. Final event, the Topin Bronze Novice, and one for the bookies here with young Josh leading throughout to defeat Assange. The favourite, Wish I Myth, very disappointing to finish fourth.
And Vincere showing speed with Prince Vesper. Assange running about fourth on settling down. Royal Machine on the inside, and young Josh is spearing through. Bucerama Cabaret Kingdom getting back with Fiery Felina's Pride. Last of all, Fields of Adderley. 1,000 metres left to go. Young Josh, the leader. 3/4 of an length in front of Why Shane Myth. A length and a half away third, Royal Machine on the inside of Connor's Hope, who's out a little bit wide. Nassan splitting that pair in the centre. 2 lengths into Fiery Flutter, followed by Vincere. Back along the inside, Inner's Pride, and then Prince Vesper. Cabaret Kingdom caught off the track, but picking up ground, and then Bucerama and Fields of Adderley. Coming down the side, just on 600 metres to go. It's young Josh, 3/4 of an length in front of Why Shane Myth, and Connor's Hope going up, but a bit wide. Royal Machine on the rails. A length further back to Assange, followed by Cabaret Kingdom, who's deep, and then Vincere. Fiery Flutter next on the inside, and Bucerama, Inner's Pride, Fields of Adderley, and Prince Vesper. Straightening up, 350 metres left to go. Young Josh, just the leader. Why Shane Myth popped the big question on the outside. Assange is coming into it with a great run. Then Royal Machine and Fiery Fella. Young Josh is still in front. Assange is struggling to get him. Why Shane Myth is gone. Young Josh is kicked away from him again, and Young Josh has got it won. Young Josh hits the line, wins it by a length. Young Josh first. Second home, Assange. Oh, Fields of Adderley flew. Came from last as in a photo with Why Shane Myth.
And apprentice Carl Simon's delighted to win the final event there after being very unlucky in the opening race on Ballyman's Boy. Look now at the TAB information from Doomben. The double numbers 3 and 5, and the dividend $46.40. The treble combination 3, 3 and 5. All the odd numbers $408.40, an even dividend, and an extra double from Doomben. We don't have.
You should be prepared, Bart. Actually,
we didn't have
rely on the car onto...
we didn't have an extra double. I was just testing. Now, enlighten us. What's this duck?
It's probably the highlight of the meeting.
Yes, it was, David. He's an outstanding 3-year-old. He had a very big autumn. He's raced successfully here in Brisbane over the Winter Carnival. It looks like he's set for a big spring. Now at the Tommy Smith stable, and we'll see his win in the Roman Consul Stakes shortly. First event from Randwick was the Yaramba Welter, and Kentish, grey from Melbourne. He's the leader as they swing for home, and he defies all challenges to run him down to defeat Colour Page and Happy Feeling. The favourite, Gold Condor, very disappointing.
Happy Feeling, Gold Condor popped the question. Fortunately, the early effort telling, and then Colour Page at Alpine Lad. Gold Condor would need to shake a leg. Kentish, he still holds the lead by 2 lengths. Colour Page running on, battling on to his Happy Feeling. Forget Gold Condor, but Kentish, he's walking to the line. Colour Page and Happy Feeling are not going to reach him, and Kentish staggers in. Kentish has put up a decent form reversal to beat Colour Page and Happy Feeling.
I mentioned the favourite Gold Condor disappointing, and the same result in the second for the punters with the short price favourite Manirek. Very disappointing. He led comfortably, but very tired in the straight to finish fourth. The winner was Bright Purple in the black colours, easing out 3 wide.
In third position, Swift Interest. Now as they race to the 200, he's under severe pressure. Manirek, Rose Diamonds ahead in front. Bright Purple weaving clear now. He's a chance. Bright Purple gobbles up Manirek, Rose Diamond. Swift Interest on the outside, trying to go with Bright Purple, but it's all Bright Purple. He's coming away now from Swift Interest. For third, it'll be Rose Diamond.
The third event was the Chelmsford Stakes at Weight for Age. Unfortunately, we have no film of this, but it was a gem of a ride by Ron Quinton to score on Hay Eye. Bounty Hawk, the favourite, a little bit disappointing, but it was a muddling run affair, and I don't think you could condemn him on that effort, but a good win to Hayden. Fourth event was the Tramway Handicap, and a very well-judged ride out in front by Peter Cook on Tandrio to defeat the favourite Eastern Bay.
Gold in third position, followed by Like a Planet, Manu on the outside, then March Magic, Lord Ballard and Young Blood. At the 200 metres, Eastern Bay put the nose in front of Tandrio. Wayne Gold hanging on from Manu and March Magic, Young Blood and Lord Ballard. Tandrio fights back. It's Tandrio again heading Eastern Bay. Tandrio doing better than Eastern Bay, and Tandrio, a brilliant performance. Tandrio's beaten Eastern Bay and third Lord Ballina.
Then came the Roman Consul Stakes and Red Anchor. You'll notice as they swing for home, it's Royal Troubadour, a former stablemate of the winner, just leading Red Anchor, and the two had a great struggle in the straight, with Mick Dittman's mount Red Anchor just a shade too strong.
On top of the rise, 300 to go, and Red Anchor's doing better than Royal Troubadour currently. The rider Dittman goes now for Red Anchor. Royal Troubadour boxing on well clear of Deal, and then Wink at Me and Skydrop. Inspired's 1,000 to 1, but it's Red Anchor. Red Anchor's a half-length. Royal Troubadour, a good gap to Deal, and then comes Scornvale, but it's all Red Anchor. And Red Anchor on the line wins at a half-length to Royal Troubadour. Deal third, and then Scornvale.
Next event was the 1,600 metres welter, and the Alchemist starting at 10 to 1. Just edged out Lofty Bear. The two had a great struggle in the straight, and well travelled, the favourite, a distant third.
The Alchemist, followed by Ben Cara, hard-ridden, well-travelled on the rails. A length into Osmeridium within the lure, and Zephyr Tie. Coming to the 200, Lofty Bear joined by the Alchemist. A half-length French Kiwi, followed by Ben Cara, well-travelled and within the lure on the outer. But the Alchemist gains the upper hand from Lofty Bear, kicking back. The Alchemist, a half head in front, a neck in front. He's too good. And the Alchemist just wins from Lofty Bear. Third home was well-travelled.
Another win to the Smith stable in the Tattersall's Plate over 2,400 metres, with the grey Spend the Money winning. He got to the lead about the 300 metres and was not seriously threatened, although Heroic Blaze got within a long neck of him at the finish.
At the 300, standard lines given in. Il Rubino shot to the lead and passed immediately by the grey Spend the Money. In Kiwi Compass battling on, followed then by Heroic Blaze and a break of a length to Our Year. It's Spend the Money in front, coming to the 100 metres. Kiwi Compass now, Heroic Blaze the outside. Spend the Money the leader. Heroic Blaze on the outside is gradually closing in, but it'll be too late, and Spend the Money's going to score. It's Spend the Money winning at a long neck to Heroic Blaze. Third Kiwi Compass, fourth.
Regal Presence rounded off a very successful day for the Smith stable, and also for rider Peter Cook, when he nailed the leader Princess Jacinda in the last ride. A very good run from the Queenslander Goleen. She's back near last, the baldy face and the green cap and the blue colours. Watch her finishing run.
Under a big weight, followed now by Gypsy Reward coming into it. At the 200, they've still got to catch Princess Jacinda. The rider goes for the whip on Princess Jacinda Ferner. It's a length for the quarter. Regal Presence getting out, finishing doggedly. Finishing maybe like a winner. Princess Jacinda, Regal Presence. Regal Presence has dived out, has made it on the line. Regal Presence wins at a short half head to Princess Jacinda. Third home was Goleen. By golly.
By golly, it was a good run by Goleen. She's going to pay her way in Sydney. And now look at the TAB information from the Randwick meeting. Double numbers, 3 and 6, paid $73.10. A big treble for 11, 3 and 6, paid $2,055 even. And an extra double from Randwick, 8 and 7, paid $118.60. Unfortunately, we can't show you the Sandown meeting from Melbourne yesterday. We were unable to get the films of those races. This week in racing on Tuesday, we've got the annual meeting of the QTC and the announcement of the election to replace the committee man, Mr. Jack Delaney, who's retiring, will be announced. Also, we've got Eagle Farm meeting on that day. Wednesday, Bundam.